Schoolsforneworleans.org.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. President Trump's border czar Tom Homan says more workplace immigration raids are coming, like last week's at a Georgia Hyundai plant.
We're going to do more worksite enforcement operatives because, number one, it's a crime to enter this country illegally. Number two, it's a crime to knowingly hire an illegal alien.
ICE arrested hundreds, mostly undocumented South Koreans. A deal was later reached to return them home. Thousands marched in D.C. Saturday to protest the federal law enforcement surge. The ACLU-led We Are All D.C. rally called for the removal of National Guard troops, with protesters labeling their presence an armed occupation. And tragedy in New Jersey. Taraya Reed, sister of NBA player Naz Reid, was shot and killed outside an apartment in Jackson Township. Police arrested Black 29-year-old Shaquille Green, her boyfriend, who now faces murder and weapons charges. Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good Morning Show. This is WBOK, 12:30 a.m. and we've made it to Tuesday. Not quite the hump day or Friday, but we're making it through the week, day by day by day. So Good Morning Show, and we got a good one for you today. This is Will Sutton, and this is
Eddie Compass.
And you're here why?
I'm here to hear you.
All right now. So we're here, you're there, wherever you are, on AM, on internet, or on Facebook Live. We thank you for tuning in to the Good Morning Show. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. If you got something on your mind, if you've got something to share, you got an event coming up that people should know about, give us a ring, let us know, let everybody know about what you got going on. But I just ask you to keep it respectful, keep it tight, so that other people can get on the line and we can kind of keep things moving along. We got a lot of people with a lot of things that they can share, but the airwaves are for everyone. I had a little bit of a strange morning this morning, Chief.
Well, what happened this morning?
Well, actually, it started last night.
Okay.
But I didn't know it started until this morning.
Okay.
So, you know, I have these routines, especially with a Good Morning Show. You got to get up and get out
very
of there.
much so.
Okay?
Very much so.
You know, so I went into the slot where I parked my car, and I saw something. And I was like, well, see, this is why my kitchen routine was messed up, because I was looking for my trusty rug. And the one that I usually bring here, I didn't find when I got up and I was going through my kitchen routine, couldn't make my beverage.
Right.
And I'm looking around, opening the cabinets, refrigerator, everything. I just could not find that thing.
And you got about 100 cups in there, but you don't. You can't use
and
them.
And of course, you know, I could have used any of those other ones, and as it is, I had to use another one because I couldn't find it. You know where it was?
Where was it?
I left it on the roof of my car last night.
Wow. You know,
So I went through my whole day. I parked and went in for the night.
and then moved.
Apparently,
then
I
move
put
the
it
cup.
on the back, right over the door where I was opening and grabbing something, and left it all night. And nobody took it.
Well, I'm so glad you said that because my wife, Regina, always messes with me because I have my Cap Alpha side cup. We got like 150 cups in the pantry, but the only cup I can drink out of is that Cap Alpha side. If I do pie, then we die. But it's like my cup is like the only one I will use. So it's not just me. It's not just me.
No. And I'm sure there's somebody out there who had that experience already this week, but I had my experience this morning with my favorite tumbler.
I'm glad you said that. I feel good now because my wife had me thinking I was crazy. She said, "Do you see all the cups up in here? Do you realize all the cups we have in here? Why you have to use that cup?" I said, "Because that's my cup."
Oh boy.
Huh?
Oh boy.
All right. So I hope you're
boy,
listening.
boy. Yep. Well, we've got a good show for you this morning, and we're going to be talking with Dr. Victor Sims, our favorite health and mental expert. He'll be in and a little bit later on. So it's always good to talk with Dr. Sims.
Oh, yeah.
I'm really interested to hear his thoughts about the week that we went through last week and this campaign season.
Right.
And some of the things that we're witnessing nationally as well.
Right.
Because I feel like every day out of Washington, D.C., there's like whiplash with this development and
crazy.
that development. And it's pretty crazy. So I'm sure he can help us work through some of those things. And we also have Charles Phipps from the Urban League of Louisiana. They've been hosting a number of debates and forums over the last several weeks. And tonight is the last of those debates. And this is a biggie.
Oh, yeah.
This is the mayoral debate that will be happening at Xavier University tonight. So we're going to have Mr. Phipps in to talk with us about that. And meanwhile, speaking of campaigns and politics, things are starting to heat up now.
Oh, yes, they are.
Starting to heat up. So we got these debates and forums leading to the October 11th election day. And, of course, early voting starts on September 27th and ends on October 4th. So we want you to make sure you are registered to vote and make sure those in your household and in your block, your church, are registered to vote because no complaining after October 11th. It's like, well, I wish so-and-so had won. Well, you can have a say. You got one vote, and it does count. We've seen too many situations recently where people have won or issues have won by 1 or 2 votes.
Right.
And most notably, the Orleans Parish Sheriff's Office millage renewal can't get much closer than that.
Yeah.
So you definitely want to be registered to vote, but we're going to be hearing from Mr. Phipps a little bit about that. October 11th, Election Day, September 27th, early voting. And it starts and it ends on October 4th. But meanwhile, we got commercials that are starting.
Oh, yeah.
So we got Oliver Thomas got a commercial out there supporting his candidacy for mayor. And Royce Duplessis got a commercial out there. Helena Moreno, of course, has had more money. So she's had multiple commercials out there, particularly online, and so it's an interesting point in the campaign to see what the campaigns are doing. Well, first of all, to have enough money,
right,
to run these campaign commercials, and having enough money to produce them, because nobody wants to do a look at my breakfast cereal, I'm here, vote for mayor, kind of low-key quality commercial if you're asking for votes for mayor. So these are highly produced, Very well done. You can agree or disagree with the candidate. You can agree or disagree with what the commercial looks like. But their team decisions to put these commercials out there. You seen any of the commercials?
Oh, I've seen several of them, and I'll tell you, all of them are very professionally done. You know, one of the hats that I wear outside of being on WBOK, I work in the movie industry. I handle security for the movie industry, so I know what goes into putting on a commercial. You know, because I work for for a guy who does all the Popeyes commercials, and I mean, it's like a 2 or 3 day event to do those that magnitude, and the commercials that I've seen from the candidates are high quality. You know, there's a lot of moving parts. There's permits that have to be, you know, gotten. You have to have actors. You have to have individuals who are proficient in the camera work, and all these people cost. And so when candidates are out there raising money, a lot of people are under the impression that they just want that money to just be raising money. What do they do with that money? Well, one of the main things that they do is advertising. And commercial gives them the biggest bang for their buck because they reach more people with one commercial than they would do with flyers passing out at churches and stuff like that. You can reach tens of thousands of people with commercials. And so that's one venue that they're going to be utilizing now. And because they cost so much, you gotta hold that money tight, and you gotta shoot that bullet when it's time. Well, it's time.
Yeah,
it's time. Lock and load. It's time.
Yeah, strategic decisions on when to produce, when to stock it, and then when to pull the trigger and
exactly.
And run them. So. It's quite a thing, and of course, one of the things that is debated sometimes is the value of these commercials. But the reality is, campaign after campaign proves that campaign commercials do have an impact.
A big impact.
You may say it does not, but over time, these commercials do have an impact. And another thing that has an impact is endorsements. Now, we can debate about the quality of endorsements or whose endorsement matters, but I would love to hear what some of you all think about that. We're not going to hop into that right now, but I want you to put your thinking caps on because I'd be interested to hear what you're thinking, no matter who you support. And maybe you haven't even decided on who you support, but I'd like to know the impact of endorsements on you. Meanwhile, we've got another update on the Brian Vasquez situation, and oh my goodness, it just seems to get worse and worse as we go along. The Brian Vasquez situation, there are court records that indicate that there was prolonged abuse and prolonged just not caring for the child. And that's not a good thing. So one of the things that will happen, as we talked about yesterday, is the continuation of the investigation. And man, I really feel for the rest of that family, and I hope this resolves itself in ways that I can't imagine right now, because not going to bring back that child's life at all.
And it's not just that child. He has a sister. And so the sister is going to become a ward of the state probably if there's not a competent adult that's within that family for guardianship. You know, so when you look at what happened, it's like a avalanche, or, you know, a domino effect, for lack of a better term, where one event led to another event, leads to another event, and all of them are tragic. You know, when you look at the magnitude of what happened to this young man, you know, because of neglect, from what we see, it hasn't been proven yet, it hasn't been adjudicated yet, but just from the outside looking in, from just looking at it from the lens of what we've seen in the papers and on the television, that it was neglect, and the young man was unsupervised, and as a result, his life was lost. So we're going to have to follow that very closely.
Yep. The campaign continues. There are multiple debates and forums just this week. I know there's the Urban League's mayoral debate is tonight. There is a small business a mayoral debate on Thursday night. there's the downtown development district debate on Wednesday night. There is a cultural bearers debate. It's either Wednesday or Thursday. So there are plenty of opportunities for folks to check out the mayoral candidates and other candidates as well. So we're at a point in the campaign where their candidates are out and about and they are asking for your vote. You can get up close to a number of the candidates and ask them your questions before they go on or after they come on or are done with the program. It's a good opportunity to engage with them, ask your questions, or just say hello.
Right.
See how you feel
Right.
when you extend a hand or a smile. Ask them how they're doing. See how they answer. I mean, it could be something as simple as that causes you to make up your mind, that you decide that you're inclined to vote for this person. Then you look at their platform, you decide, yeah, that's what I like. Or, whoa, they seem like a nice person, but this is not what I want.
Right.
So you can make some decisions about that as you come in contact with a number of different folks at these debates and these forums. So it looks like we got a call. We got Ms. Jones on the line.
Ms. Jones?
Ms. Jones? Okay. I think you're on the line, but we can't hear you at this point. So we'll hope that we can get you
Right.
At some point. So the Urban League debate is tonight. It is at 7 p.m. at Xavier University. And we're going to have Charles Phipps coming in to join us and talk about that. Let's try Ms. Jones again. Ms. Jones, are you there? Ms. Jones?
Hello?
Oh, hi, Ms. Jones. Hi, good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Good morning. Good morning. Doing fine. How's everybody?
Fabulous.
Hey,
How
Ms.
are
Jones, how you doing?
Oh, pretty good. Okay, there's an amendment proposition for October the 11th, so we need to bring that out. That no law should arbitrarily and unreasonably discriminate against a person who, based on a conviction history. It's one amendment, so.
That's right. You're absolutely right, and that's something that we should bring up. And because there's no mayoral debate or city council forum or assessor program about that ballot measure, and it's very important. So you're making an excellent point. We'll be sure to bring that up and talk about that. Maybe get a couple of people on to talk about that and why it's important as well.
Yes, but by all means, carry somebody with you. Register people. Whenever there's a bunch of people, encourage them. Talk about it. When you're crowded, at the grocery store, on a parking lot, talk about it. Tell people to vote. Register to vote.
Okay. All right.
Thank you, Ms.
Thank you
Jones.
so much. Thank you so much. You're listening to the Good Morning Show on WBOK at 7:20 a.m. If you got somewhere to be at 7:30, you might make it if you're already dressed and got your coffee.
No speeding in school zones.
No school zones.
That's the chief talking now.
Yep.
That's not the radio guy. That's the chief. Watch out for them kids.
All right. So 7:20 a.m., the Good Morning Show. This is WBOK 12:30 a.m. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Soon after the break, you'll be hearing from Charles Phipps from the Urban League of Louisiana. This is WBOK 12:30 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about
All day long.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. This morning, Hilda Vasquez remains in custody facing charges related to the death of her 12-year-old son. Yesterday, she made her first court appearance and was seen crying when a judge said she cannot have contact with her children until further notice. She was also ordered to enroll in a domestic abuse program. Hilda is charged with negligent homicide and second-degree cruelty to a juvenile. That's after her son Brian went missing and was later found dead in a lagoon near his New Orleans East home. Hilda will be back in court on Friday. Then the man accused of driving into a New Orleans East home and seriously injuring an Edna Karr student will be sentenced in court today. Cedric Marshall is charged with driving drunk and crashing into the home where Jamal Jackson was sleeping back in 2024. That teen was critically injured. Marshall's sentencing is set for 9. And finally, WDSU anchor Daryl Forges will moderate a mayoral debate tonight, talking to the candidates about their vision for New Orleans. That debate is being hosted by the Urban League of Louisiana at Xavier University's Convocation Center tonight at 7 o'clock. It is open to the public. And voters will then choose the next mayor of New Orleans on Saturday, October 11th. Early voting for that election will take place September 27th through October 4th. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
This is the Bloomberg Black Business Beat, brought to you by FidelityWealthManagement.com. Sports franchise valuations are skyrocketing and garnering a lot of attention from investors. Nicole Pullen Ross is one of the highest-ranking black women on Wall Street, and she's head of sports and entertainment solutions at Goldman Sachs. And she spoke to Bloomberg about the different investors she works with in sports.
Some of our clients who are long-term investors in the space have been investing as a private family for generations. And those families have really leaned in mostly around passion. And we're seeing them look not only to the sport that they may have started with, but look at multiple sports, potentially in a same city or potentially across the world. And we see new investors who are trying to put a toe in the water.
A lot of these new investors are coming from private equity. I'm Bloomberg's Justin Milliner on the Black Business Beat.
Working as a dedicated Fidelity advisor, I always ask, what's important to you? I'll look at those priorities and goals alongside your full financial picture to build a comprehensive plan designed to help grow and protect your wealth. With proactive portfolio insights and an eye on taxes, I'm here to help you make the most of your money. I'm Laura Maxwell, and I'm a dedicated Fidelity advisor. Learn more at fidelity.com/wealth. Investment minimums apply. Fidelity Brokerage Services, LLC, member NYSE, SIPC.
Lowe's knows you've got a job to do, and we help get it done. With the MyLowe's Pro Rewards program, eligible members save more with volume discounts on qualifying orders through a quote of $2,000 or more. Join for free today. Lowe's, we help, you save. Offer can't be combined with any other discount, contract, and/or special pricing. Exclusions, more terms, and restrictions apply. Details at lowes.com/terms. Subject to change.
Start your day off right.
Just getting your day started.
Early morning gospel on WBOK.
Are you passionate about community safety and police accountability? Tune in to The Monitor's Mic, where we talk about oversight, policing, and you. Hosted by the Office of Independent Police Monitor, we're here to shine a light on policing issues that matter. From real-time policing updates to in-depth interviews. Get the facts and stay informed. We're breaking down complex issues, highlighting community voices, and holding people behind the badge accountable. Join us for an informative hour every Friday at noon on WBOK. Your city, your police, your show. The Monitor's Mic.
Fresh produce, local flavor, and a healthy you. New Orleans East Hospital is hosting a farmers market the last Wednesday of every month from 2 p.m. to 6 p.m. Join us in the parking lot across from the main entrance. Support local farmers and your wellness. We'll see you there.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show for those of you who have been listening since 7-ish, and welcome to the Good Morning Show for those of you who are just tuning in. It is 7:26 a.m. If you got somewhere to be at 7:30. Oh, I hope it's the living room from your bedroom because you're going to be a little late otherwise. We've got a wonderful guest here today. I'm Will Sutton, and this is Chief Eddie Coppins with us.
And I'm here to hear you.
All right. So the talk line is 504-582-0950. 9422 504 582 9422. We do want to hear from you. And we're going to be talking about politics. We're going to be talking about campaigns. We're going to be talking specifically about the Urban League of Louisiana series of debates that have been going on for several weeks. And if you've missed it, you've missed some good information and good opportunities. But there's more coming yet today. But first, let's introduce Charles Phipps, Senior Director at the Urban League of Louisiana. And we're happy that you're here with us today.
Will, it's a pleasure to be with you this morning, Chief. Good to meet you. I'm excited to talk to y'all this morning.
All right. So who your mama in there? Where you come from, man?
Well, y'all starting with the hot questions. I'm from New York. I'm a New Yorker, born and raised from the Bronx.
Okay.
Big city of dreams.
Yeah, there we go. We're birth of hip hop.
All right.
My mother is Maria Phipps. My father is Charles Phipps. Everything that I am is because of them. I have three wonderful sisters. So my family is small, but we're mighty.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
How about school? Where'd you go to school?
I went to school here, actually. This is my 20th year in New Orleans. Had the pleasure of going to Loyola University of New Orleans, and then I went
Wolfpack.
That's right, the Wolfpack is running strong.
I taught that.
There
You wasn't in my class, were you?
I was not. I was not. But also Tulane Law. So New Orleans has been really good to me in that regard.
A rather fine law school.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. No bell for Tulane Law? No
all
bell?
right. Well, all right. I'll give you a little bell on that. Give you a little bell on that.
All right.
I didn't teach that in law school.
What's your journey been like to the Urban League? I mean, did you graduate from law school and go to the Urban League, or were there some other things that happened?
No, I mean, it's so in true New Orleans fashion, my journey has been one of twists and turns, of resilience, of falling down a couple of times but having to get back up. After I graduated from Loyola, I actually taught for 5 years. And that was really, really important. At that time, it was I'm part of Katrina class, right? And so just sort of this year being the 20th year of remembering Katrina is deep and personal to me because I remember being a freshman during that time. And
so you were incoming freshman?
That was my freshman year. Yep.
Welcome to school. Huh?
Welcome to school. Welcome to New Orleans. And so that was a really important time to me. But one of the things that came from Katrina was just like really unique opportunities for young professionals. And I was fortunate enough to be able to be given the opportunity to teach. And so I taught K through 8 for 5 years.
Okay.
In Richmond. I was out there at Osborne.
Really?
We actually reopened Osborne. And so that's a really deep and wonderful part of my story. And then after teaching, I went to law school. And I had the pleasure of clerking for the Honorable Omar K. Mason in Civil District Court.
Okay.
Another Wolfpack alumni. And then I was a litigator for a number of years, where I did toxic tort litigation, fighting for everyday people and family.
Deep dive kind of stuff.
Yeah, it was definitely heavy because many of my clients were just hardworking people trying to make a living, and unfortunately they were they weren't treated properly by their employers. So and then that's what I did right before coming to the Urban League. I had the opportunity to fight for us, for Black and Brown New Orleanians, Black and Brown Louisianans, and I couldn't pass that up.
Oh, wonderful. Yeah. And what year did you join the Urban League?
This is my third year there.
Okay.
This is my third year there. So 2022 is when I got there.
They must like you. You're still there.
I'm doing something right, I think.
Yeah, let me tell you, man, they have some of the most skilled professionals I've ever been around working for the Urban League. When I was superintendent of police, the Urban League was very instrumental in programs that we partnered with. Mark Morial was the president of the Urban League, and he still is to this day. And we had a really good connection, and I met so many professional people such as yourself. So we're in very good hands in that regard.
Thank you, Chief. That really means a lot.
So it's campaign season, and I've had the opportunity of going to a number of the Urban League of Louisiana hosted by the people debates. But where did this by the people thing idea come up? How long ago did you all start thinking about that as a nugget of an idea and then pulling together partners?
I mean, honestly, it came together pretty quickly. As you both know, I think as the people know who are listening to this, like we're living in a really interesting time, a time of consequence, a time of frankly, of hardship, right? I think that a lot of people are uncertain about what today entails, let alone tomorrow. Right. And at the Urban League, we take very seriously our responsibility to not only fight for you, but fight with you, right? And so in this moment where, a lot of people are fearful. A lot of people are in need of information. We were thinking about what's our role in that. Right. And so, for over 86 years now, we've been a partner in the civil rights space, making sure that you have rights, that you understand those rights, and that those rights are protected. And in the same vein, we wanted to make sure that in this cycle where New Orleans has an opportunity to elect an entirely new leadership structure, right? Like you're going to have, city councils is on the ballot, the mayor's on the ballot, assessors on the ballot, sheriffs on the ballot. There are actually 13 parish-wide races on the ballot. We felt really strongly that we needed to give the people something that really hasn't been done before in this way, right? Which is to say every single race is important. And we're going to make sure that we provide a platform that gives everyday New Orleanians the opportunity to decide who should earn your vote, and us really elevating the why.
One thing that I admire about the Urban League is a didactic paradigm shift as it relates to educating younger voters. Because usually when you think about voting, you think about middle-aged people and older people. But the Urban League has made a concentrated effort to get young people involved from an educational standpoint, as well as, bringing choices to them. So that's one of the missions that I think you guys are really carrying out in a very good way.
Chief, I appreciate that. One of the things that my father likes to say is that this isn't a dress rehearsal, right? Like this is real life. This is something that, everyone has a role to play. And I think when you're talking to one constituency versus another, like we're doing a disservice. And so for young voters, like we're talking to you, we want you engaged, right? And I'm talking about like even pre-voters. So one of the things that we believe in the Urban League of Louisiana is economic self-reliance. Like we have a whole platform about how to build generational wealth. Well, that starts with informing the youth. That starts with making sure that we understand your realities, that we understand what your aspirations are, and we can help guide you and tell you, well, this is that path. These are some of the things that you should be considering. So whether you're a senior soldier or you're an aspiring high school student, like there's a place for you at the Urban League of Louisiana. We've been trying to talk to you.
Mm-hmm. So when this came up, you said not that long ago. We're talking about like 2 months or 3 months? Or?
Yeah, it kind of came together in about 2 months. We were looking at the races, and we knew that a lot of people were going to be excited, particularly about sheriff and mayor. Like those are sort of the high-profile races.
Right.
But then we were talking with our partners at the National Panhellenic Council. So shout out to the Divine Nine.
All right.
We had that conversation earlier.
Yeah, I'll give you a little bit on that.
We were talking with them about, how do we pool resources? Like, how do we utilize our various institutions, right? Because that's what the D9 is, right? That's what organizations like the Urban League are, right? We're institutions, and we really wanted to work collaboratively. And then so that idea, those sort of conversations, we have a partnership with the New Orleans Alumni Association. So we were talking to various groups about what are you thinking about doing? And it's like, well, we really want to get the vote out. We want to mobilize voters. We want to educate voters. And then we said, okay, well let's go big or go home. And so we decided to do an 8 debate series, and 7 debates later, here we are. I'm still standing.
Anybody else doing 8?
Not to my knowledge.
No,
not to my knowledge.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, it is a lot. And here's a serious note. One of the things that was really important to our coalition. So we have a coalition of 20 partners, right? Spanning from as I said, institutions like the NAACP New Orleans chapter. We have groups like the Links, right? The Links Incorporated, right?
All three of the
chapters, right? New Orleans, Crescent City, and Pontchartrain. I got it committed to memory, right? Housing NOLA, Power Coalition, right? And I think one of the things that we wanted to do was to touch different parts of New Orleans, right? So when you have a group like the Collaborative that speaks to sort of the business community, the Black business community, right? You have groups like Eternal Seeds, a nonprofit focusing on artists, right? And how critical like artists have been towards like the movement, right? In terms of making it real for people. So we really are touching, the gambit of society, right? In terms of who makes up New Orleans. And we said, look, if we're going to call ourselves by the people, we can't put our finger on the scale. Like, we can't do that. Like, we got to, if you have raised your hand and you said that I'm wanting to lead us, I think I'm deserving to lead us, then we're going to give you a platform and we're going to let the voters decide. And so we're really proud to have invited every single candidate, and up until this point have had all but one candidate participate in our 7 debates.
Well, that's really remarkable. All but one for all these various citywide offices. It's 7:36, folks, and you got somewhere to be at 7:45. You might be able to make it. We are talking to Charles Phipps, Senior Director from Urban League of Louisiana, talking about the By the People debate series. All of the citywide campaign candidates have been invited to one of the debate programs. And tonight there's a big one.
You think?
Yeah. Now, when you look at it from the perspective that you have all the candidates there, a lot of times with the polling at this late stage, usually the big organizations only bring the main candidates in. What is the advantage of bringing all the candidates in at such a late date? When some of them are polling less than 1%. Do you think that does the process, does it do it justice? Because, the main candidates are the ones that the people want to hear about, the other candidates that had other debates, but this is like one of the big stages. So, give me the pros and cons of that.
Yeah, Chief, I think a core question to that inquiry is who gets to decide the main candidates, right? I think that, there's been consistency about polls, not necessarily being accurate, right? Thinking that one person is significantly ahead and then the voters say otherwise, right? And so what we said was, look, and what's been actually remarkable in this process is that there have been wonderful ideas brought forth by every single candidate. And so from that vantage point, like when we're talking about sort of, recognizing our power, right? Activating that power, really understanding like who gets to determine like self-interest, right? What we've seen is that like the candidates are elevating so much of New Orleanians reality, right? And so I think at this juncture, whether you're a candidate that's polling really high or a candidate that's polling, pretty poorly right now, what I know unequivocally is that you're going to say something that resonates with the people and that the fellow candidates can benefit from, but also the voters can benefit from when we're coming about who's going to lead us, right? Because we may not win, but that idea can be taken to the bank, right? And so we want to make sure that we're capturing those ideas and that we're utilizing those for future conversations.
One of the things I like about what you all have done is along those lines, there have been situations with like the rapid fire question component.
Yeah.
Where the candidate does not have a chance to elaborate. So the answer is yes or no.
Yeah.
And it's so clear they want to say more, but the answer is yes or no. And in a number of those cases, it's yes, 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 yes. But they're all answering the same question.
That's right.
With the same answer. Right. And so somebody can, 8 months from now, let's roll the videotape back.
Right.
You said yes. They did too. They didn't get it. We gave it to you. Why'd you say yes? And where are we now?
So, here's the thing. We can't afford to be ambiguous in this time.
Right.
Like the people, the residents of New Orleans deserve to know where you stand. And some issues are nuanced, and we need to understand that you're going to have to give a little on this side. You're going to have to give a little on this side, and we're going to find some compromise in the middle. Like that's absolutely appropriate, and we support that process. But some things got to be black and white.
Oh yes, it's got to be definitive.
100%, Chief. And so what we've been trying to do is on some important issues. So what we believe to be some foundational issues that because sometimes we get lost in the weeds, right? Where things that we have consensus on. We spend years talking about something that we actually agreed upon if we actually just asked a clear question.
Right.
And so, I'm really proud of just the way that the debate has been structured, because you have opportunities to dig deep on some certain areas where we talk at a sort of a surface level. And then, to your point, Will, like, I need to know where you stand on certain things. And I've been really pleased that a lot of the candidates have affirmed what we believe to be true about some foundational issues that can move the city forward. And we're definitely looking forward to working with all of those candidates, after October 11th.
Well, sometimes there's no gray area. You can't be politically correct. You have to take a stance. Your stance has to be one that you can be held accountable for. But you can't just say yes. You got to say, what are you going to do if you're saying yes? How are you going to bring it about? You just can't say yes to economic development or yes to incarceration or, well, okay, and give an alternative, the pros and cons. So, I'm talking about after you get in office, so when you expound on it. But you're right. When you make people give a definitive answer, I went to a workshop one time, and they went around the room, and you only had 2 seconds to answer, and basically subliminally and what's in your gut, you tell the truth whether you want to or not.
Yep.
That's a modality that they use sometimes in interrogation. So it's not an interrogation up there when you're going to the debate, but to Will's point, that's a very good, strong indication of where people stand.
So there's been a structure to each of these programs, no matter what the office the candidates are pursuing.
That's
Can
right.
you speak to what that structure is that you've held to debate by debate, so people know what to expect tonight?
Yeah, absolutely. So every debate has had a phenomenal cast of moderators. I think that's a huge portion. In fact, one of the moderators is sitting to my right. And that was really important to us because we wanted to make sure that we were elevating important voices to residents, not just the candidates, but people who they should be knowing and hearing from.
Right.
So super grateful and thankful for the many moderators that have been in every part of the debate. And each debate has had a different group of moderators. So we've had 14 to date. But each of those moderators has been charged with a simple task, right? Which is they're going to be conveying questions from our coalition. So as I said, we have a coalition of 20 partners. And each of us has pulled together all of our various areas of expertise, the areas in which you, the people, have told us like we really care about, the areas that we've been fighting with you with. So there are questions about that. There's also rapid fire questions where, as we said before, we really want to know like where do you stand on these questions? Yes or no? You don't have the opportunity to opine and elaborate. And for politicians, that's like asking for you to bring rain on a sunny day, right? And then I think one of the most important pieces is that we gather questions from the audience, and we convey questions from the audience. And now, we can't call ourselves by the people and not give the people an opportunity to weigh in here like in real time. And so at the end, the last question that the candidates answer are actually from the audience. And then those questions, because we've had a lot of engagement, and unfortunately we don't have enough time to ask every single question. We should actually have marathon debates. Because, we could talk about some of this stuff for 24 hours straight. But those questions will be sent to the candidates, and it is our hope that they respond in kind. And one of the things that we keep stressing is that you have an opportunity to engage these candidates. They're in our neighborhoods. They have various campaign events and the like. And we really encourage you. We want this to be sort of the first bit of the conversation, and we're passing the baton to you to continue that conversation.
So who can we expect to see tonight at the mayoral debate? Who have you confirmed? What time, location? What should people know?
So the debate is going to be tonight at 7 p.m. We're going to be right here at Xavier University. We're really excited about that in the Convocation Center. So 7 p.m. It's still not too late to RSVP. You can go to urbanleaguela.org/by-the-people to RSVP. Who you said who's going to be there?
Yeah, which mayoral candidate?
We have 9 candidates. So we have, you want me to name them all?
Yeah.
Sheesh, this is a pop quiz, y'all.
Oh, yeah?
All right, so we have Senator Duplessis, we have Councilwoman Moreno, we have Councilman Thomas, we have Miss Carter.
Arlene Carter.
Yep, we have Miss Collins.
Ricky Twiggs.
We have Ricky Twiggs. We have
Janesco.
Mr. Janesco. Who else do we have?
Miller.
And Miss, yep.
Is that right?
Miller?
No.
See, I failed this part of the quiz, y'all. I couldn't commit all these to memory.
I know Joe.
But there are 9. What I do know is that there are 9 candidates vying for your vote. There are 9 candidates who said they have the answers to lead us into the future, and there are 9 individuals that you must come out to hear and pay attention to. And we're looking forward to seeing you tonight at 7 p.m.
How the RSVPs going?
RSVPs are going really well. So well, in fact, we were sold out.
Wow.
And we need a belt for that. We were sold out.
Oh, yeah.
We were sold out.
Right.
And we actually moved to a bigger venue to accommodate people.
Still at the Convocation Center, just a different location.
So we were actually in the ballroom. We were in the UC ballroom.
Sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And then when y'all been responding. I mean, y'all been excited, and so we're at the Convocation Center tonight, and we're looking forward to pack the house.
All right. Well, thank you, Charles Phipps from the Urban League of Louisiana, talking about the By the People series that the Urban League of Louisiana has been hosting with quite a number of fabulous partners the last several weeks. The finale is tonight at 7 p.m. at Xavier University in the Convocation Center. Sold out and had to move to a bigger location, but I think you might want to get there a little early if you want a good seat.
That's right.
Plus, want to remind folks who haven't been that there's a QR code. And so make sure you get that before you go and take your seat, because that's your opportunity to ask
some
question.
Yes, sir.
That may be answered. Depends on how many questions they get and how much time there is, and they have to make decisions about those questions. 7 p.m. tonight by the people, mayoral debate forum hosted by the Urban League of Louisiana and their partners. So thank you very much for coming in. We appreciate you and all you've done to inform the electorate about the important issues in the voices of the candidates who want to be our next mayor. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. WBOK 1230 AM. What New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Comfortable throughout most of the day, but humidity will be on the rise. Highs reach the upper 80s with scattered showers in the afternoon. This does not look to be a washout, however. Lows for tonight fall to the 70s. Highs slightly warmer Wednesday in the low 90s. More dry conditions at the end of the week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
What's the future for New Orleans? Will city services ever function efficiently? Our people need answers, not slogans. That's why the Nonpartisan City Services Coalition has asked the candidates for mayor how they plan to fix city government. Want to know what they said? Go to cityservicescoalition.com to see for yourself. It's time for action, not excuses. The next step is yours.
Paid for by the City Services
The
Coalition.
New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation is the nonprofit organization that owns the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Festival presented by Shell. With the funds generated from Jazz Fest, the foundation invests in Louisiana companies through economic development, cultural enrichment, and free educational programs. To learn more about what the New Orleans Jazz and Heritage Foundation does, please visit www.jazzandheritage.org.
LifeCare provides valuable whole life insurance to cover final expenses such as medical bills, burial costs, and unpaid debt. A final expense insurance policy is fast, easy, affordable life insurance that's available to anyone between the ages of 50 and 80. No medical exams, no lengthy questionnaires, and no waiting period. The application process is quick and easy. You can even apply without having to undergo a medical examination. Just answer a few questions and we'll do the rest. With the average funeral cost skyrocketing to $11,000 and Social Security only paying $255, you need simple, affordable peace of mind for you and your whole family. Don't leave behind unpaid expenses that, if left unattended, will burden your family tremendously. Benefits include a guaranteed premium that will never increase, a guaranteed cash value, and a guaranteed death benefit that can never decrease. To find out how you can get final expense insurance with a guaranteed lifetime rate lock, call LifeCare at 800-571-9955. That's 800-571-9955. 800-571-9955.
Good morning, wake up. The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
back to the Good Morning Show. This is Will Sutton, and right here with me is my partner, Chief Eddie Campos. The talk line is 504-582-9422. 504-582-9422. You got something on your mind, we sure would like to hear from you. And we were talking about the campaign things in the context of the debate, but we also have the context of mayoral endorsements and mayoral commercials, and I'm really curious to know what you all think about endorsements in particular. So are there some endorsements that matter to you more than others? You don't care about anybody's endorsement. Maybe you rely, the endorsement that you rely on is Uncle. Uncle Bobo is the endorsement because he reads everything, looks at all the social media. Is that the endorsement that you rely on, and that matters more than any elected official or former elected official or any political or campaign group? 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Endorsements. What do you think?
Well, a lot of times they have a negative effect.
Yeah.
Because if you get someone to endorse you and they have different ideologies than your base, and you're thinking you're trying to get a more robust base, in actuality, you're turning some of your loyal members off because you're basically getting endorsed by somebody who does not have the same values and precepts as it relates to what the issues are as some of the people that may have been in your base. So it could have a negative effect. So, you got to be very careful sometimes when you get an endorsement, because not all endorsements are good endorsements, Like many people have come from a different background, different. Like when you get a Republican that endorses a Democrat.
Yeah.
A lot of Democratic people, they'll think that the individual may have an ulterior motive. So then they're saying, well, if you get in here and you're getting with Republicans, well, is the Democratic agenda going to be at the forefront? What have you done to get this endorsement? What concessions have you made? So there's a lot of different things that goes into that. So when you look at it from the perspective, endorsements are good, then a lot of times people get celebrities to endorse them. Like if you have a celebrity that endorses you and they out there in left field, and they start talking crazy talk. And then it's like, well, wait a minute, is this person going to have influence on this guy or this young lady once they get elected? So, sometimes endorsements can be a good thing, but sometimes it can be a double-edged sword. So you have to be very careful with who endorses you.
Okay. Yeah. Well, I think people look at endorsements in different ways just to, I think people do pay attention to endorsements. And they may say they have no impact, but maybe they really do after they hear another one and another one. We got Cedric on the line. Good morning, Cedric. Hello.
Hey, good morning.
Good morning. Good morning. How are you?
Both of you all. Is this debate tonight the Urban Leagues?
It's hosted by the Urban League and a host of other partners.
Okay.
So those partners include Black Voters Matter, ASHE, NAACP, New Orleans Branch, each of the three Links chapters.
Great, my fellow Purple Knights. And this is where I'm going with it. And here I go.
Okay.
Are we listening?
This is the one debate that should, the groups that you name are dear or supposed to be dear or used to be dear to Black people. So this is the debate where they should be pressing and asking about this racist email. This is the debate where they should be asking all the candidates, don't just want to put it to one, is your spouse a Republican, a MAGA supporter? Do they support Trump? Since the news media is not saying certain things, this is the debate because of the organizations that should be asking, did one of your fundraisers truly email a candidate by mistake trying to incite white fear.
Maybe you need to be a moderator. All right. Maybe we put you as a moderator asking those hard questions, you know?
All right. Well, Cedric, I get your point. And for those who haven't been paying attention, I know where he's coming from. And you can go to NOLA.com and read one of James Finn's stories to get a piece of that. Not all of what Cedric just mentioned, but there's a piece of that that's been reported online and in the paper.
And lastly, I mentioned that in the spirit of Reverend Avery C. Alexander, in the spirit of Mrs. Dorothy Mae Taylor, in the spirit of Mr. Llewellyn Soniac, and in the spirit of my grandfather, Colter Roy, in the spirit of Mrs. Oretha Haley. These people are flipping over in their grave at some of the things some of these Negroes are doing in this political season, when at the federal and state levels, we should see where they're trying to take over our city. This is like our corner says, Dr. McKenna, another Purple Night, this is not the time to give up on black leadership. Y'all have a wonderful day.
All right. Well, thank you. Thank you so much, Cedric. I appreciate that. And I want to remind folks that if you show up at the debate tonight, there's an opportunity to grab a QR code. And when you scan that QR code, you can put your question in. Because I can tell you, as one of the moderators or for one of the past debates, the questions are already set. All right. So the coalition has provided the questions. The moderators don't have the opportunity to say, well, this is what I want to ask. So this is very structured. There's a binder. There's a time stamp for when things start, and all of that, with the exception of the very last part, which is the part where they hear from the people in the audience. And not everybody submits questions. So when not many people submit questions, all of those questions end up getting asked. If you ask a question via the QR code, then it's more likely that your question can get asked. If you submit a question and then submit another question and submit another question, it's quite likely at least one of your questions is going to get asked. How do I know? Because I tried it. So that's how I know. And I've been to a number of them. And if you don't have that opportunity, ask somebody else who is going to scan the code and share the code, and it's more likely that you might get some of those questions asked. So good questions, Cedric, and whatever your questions are for whatever candidate, it would be really helpful for you to ask the questions in the way that you want to get the question asked, because this is a part of the democracy. This is a part of the campaign process, and what better time for candidates to be asked questions. And if they're putting themselves up for any citywide office or any city council district office, they should know to expect tough questions. They get a lot of softball questions, and softball questions sometimes are good. There's nothing wrong with asking those to see how they might answer. You know the answer in general, but you want to hear kind of a structured answer, or where would you take it from here? But harder questions can lead to tough answers, but some honest answers about what to expect. You're listening to WBOK. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. You got something on your mind? You got something to think about, talk about, got a question? We want to hear from you. Up next is going to be Dr. Victor Sims, and we're going to be talking about crime in our city, state, and nation, and the impact of that on us as individuals, families, neighbors, groups. That's Victor Sims right after the break. WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
WBOK New Orleans. Home of the Good Morning Show, 7 to 9 a.m. weekdays.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans.
Join New Schools for New Orleans, All-State Sugar Bowl, and Entergy New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 4th annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. The gala will take place Saturday, November 1st at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. This year's gala will feature New Orleans legend DJ Jubilee. Don't miss out on this intimate celebration supporting our New Orleans public school teachers. Tickets can be purchased on our website, newschoolsforneworleans.org.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. Thousands protested in downtown Chicago Saturday against President Trump's threat to deploy federal troops.
Every single immigrant has every single right to have their families stay together.
Trump renamed the Pentagon the Department of War and posted Chicago is about to find out why on social media. Local leaders called the move dangerous. Former President Barack Obama won his 3rd Emmy, earning Outstanding Narrator for Netflix's Our Oceans. His narration of the Indian Ocean episode beat out stars like Tom Hanks and Idris Elba at the 2025 Creative Arts Emmys. And NFL Hall of Famer Randy Moss returned to ESPN's Sunday NFL Countdown after completing cancer treatment. Moss celebrated with colleagues, saying, quote, "I rang the bell, now I'm back with the family." Get BIN News Now on demand 24/7 on the iHeartRadio app.
Good morning, wake up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Good morning, New Orleans, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM. This is Will Sutton, and with me is Chief Eddie Compass. And why are you here?
I'm here to hear you.
All right. So we've got Talk Line, 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. And it's time once again to hear from our good friend, Dr. Victor Sims. And he's going to be talking with us about the psychology of crime today. And boy, do we have a lot of tie-ins to that with some things that are happening city, state, and particularly national with the National Guard.
Yeah.
And, I think, I'm going to let you get into it, but I just have to say, I wonder sometimes if people understand the responsibilities and duties of the different military service units.
Right. Yeah.
And what a National Guard person is assigned to do and when and why versus somebody in a police department or a sheriff's office.
Yeah.
But so I had to get that off my chest.
Good.
And then open it up to you. But first, good morning, and thank you for being here with us.
Not a problem. And having the chief here for this particular topic is perfect. Yeah. I mean, it's just perfect. The reason why I wanted to have this discussion about the psychology of crime, to understand what crime is all about. And if we get down to the basic understanding of human beings, all of us have a desire and a need to feel important, to feel valuable, to have our needs met, to be able to participate in a society at the society's level, what we say is comfortable. And the individual who commits a crime, they're still a human being. They still want to do those same things. And the big reason why, this topic was so important to me, because we see this big push by the federal administration to address crime issues. But they're doing it from the psychological standpoint, from the back end, The back end is after the crime is committed. After the individual has developed the mentality to get involved in committing a crime in the first place. See, you're too late at that point. If this person has had history of engaging in inappropriate behaviors from a young age, and those behaviors always increase. One thing about us human beings, we do not stay at one level of behavior. If I, at school, cut school one day, the next day I might push another student. Next day, I might say something negative to a teacher. The next day, I might decide to cut school altogether. Next day, I might decide to take something that doesn't belong to me. This behavior will escalate. And based upon the consequence that the individual receives, whether or not they're going to discontinue that behavior or continue it. If they feel as though they're getting some form of positive feedback from these behaviors, then they continue. And unfortunately, we have a lot of other psychological processes taking place. Some of them I'm a group into a term called groupthink. And we've talked about that in the past. Subcultures of individuals will get together and make a determination on what inappropriate behavior is appropriate for them, and they will pat each other on the back for that. They will support each other for that. What we normally call it, we call it gangs.
Yep.
You know, that's what we call it, because they provide for that person a sense of purpose, a sense of value, a sense of importance, which, again, we all are looking for. So if you really want to do something about crime, start at the front end. Start with the individual first learning how to be a person, first learning what behaviors are appropriate, what behaviors are inappropriate.
But can we have good group think? I mean, can we say, if you come from the Compass family, this is what we believe and this is who we are and this is what we do?
Yes. And not only that, but when you do engage in a positive behavior, you get that reinforcement. You know, you get your parents, your friends, your neighbors supporting you, telling you how wonderful person you are. We want that. We need that. So if we get it from positive behaviors, we will go in that direction. If we get it from negative behaviors, we will go in that direction.
Well, you know, Dr. Sims is one of my academic colleagues. It's such a blessing and privilege to be here with you. You know, because we were both at Southern teaching.
Yeah.
You know, people understand the criminal justice system is predicated on Southern stereo and differential reinforcers, where you give a negative stimuli, which is jail, it should stop negative behavior. But with recidivism being at all-time high, it doesn't work. What I did when I was in charge of community policing with the help of Mark Morial and the city council, we put in social programs. There's another part out there that people don't understand, differential associations.
Yes.
We did focus groups of juveniles. We gleaned a 50 questionnaire survey from those individuals.
Beautiful.
Then we disseminated to 500 kids in the public school system, and it showed that differential associations, not differential reinforcers, were the number one determinant for deviant behavior. Because when you put the information in the SPSS program, which is a statistical package of social sciences, look at the multiple regression table, empirical correlation, crime box alpha, and all our P scores are 0.05 or less, which is basically the mean for scientific validity. We were able to put programs in place and putting 80% in enforcement. We put 80% in social programs. Mark Morial got a jobs fair for kids at risk, and we hired those kids. 60% of the amount of arrests went down, and crime went down 23%, and murders went down 73%. We were the national model for the United States of America.
Yeah.
Vice President Al Gore came and looked at our program. I think because you was part of the process, because with Peter Shaw from Tulane University, Dr. Penny, I think you may have worked with Dr. Penny on that back in the day, telling your age now, you're an older guy like me.
Oh, yeah.
But, you know, we had the solution back then, because we had the federal funding. Yeah. We had millions of dollars being poured into communication and the model of intervention as opposed to incarceration.
Yes.
And this is exactly what Dr. Sims is talking about. We've done it already.
Yeah, and it's been proven so many times over, you know. But it looks like currently the sensationalism of it appears to be the method and not an actual solution to the problem. The utilization of, and as Will was mentioning, the individuals who he's bringing in, naturally, they're not trained for policing. No. Policing is an art. You know, when it's done correctly, it's an art form. Being able to confront an individual who may have engaged in a behavior that's inappropriate and get the individual to understand that this particular behavior is inappropriate and you got consequences for it, you know, is something that you have to really work with. I've talked with a lot of police. Matter of fact, a couple of years ago, I had a couple of cops come in to talk about the art of being a cop, you know, because we want the public to understand. Being a police officer, you're still a citizen. You're still going through the same thing the rest of us are going through. And these officers were able to come in to talk to the public about being a policeman and the issues of going with a policeman, the responsibility that they have, and the dangers that they face on a daily basis for us. So if we can deal with what you and Mark did back then, do the social programs on the back end, understanding what the underlying psychological desires and will of a human being are, and provide them with those issues, they don't need to go into antisocial behaviors in order to get their needs met. And this is what we're talking about, the psychology of crime. If you want to deal with it, you deal with it on the front end. Put your energy on the front end. I heard a report about the amount of money that's being spent in D.C. to have the National Guard there. It is an insane. If you put that much money into the social programs, into education, you eliminate, you reduce the crime issue, as y'all have proven, humongously. So if you want to do something about crime, doing it on the back end is a waste of time.
But you know what's more extraordinary than that? The amount of money we spend on incarceration.
Yeah.
We spend millions and billions of dollars on incarceration. And that was the concept that I used when we wrote the grant. Because the Weed and Seed grant originally was 80% enforcing and 20% into the weeding out, the seeding part.
Yeah.
And when Mark and I looked at that, we said there's nothing to making that mandatory. And we came up with the idea where we gave a test to the kids that they usually give in the military to see what they're proficient in. And we brought all the labor unions in. We brought corporate America in. We started mentoring programs. Then we even got Judge Terry Love had a program for young ladies to teach them how to be young ladies. I mean, we encapsulated the entire community into this. You know, we basically looked at police work not as something that we're going to punish people.
Right.
We're going to educate them.
Yes.
You know, and it's like, I love my community. And that's one of the reasons I became chief. I was a lieutenant when that program was in place.
Okay.
And I won National Policeman of the Year. Al Gore came and gave me the award personally. And when they got rid of apartheid in South Africa, the Clinton administration sent the South African Police Department to spend 3 or 4 days with me to learn how to do community policing. And we were the national model. I was in Time Magazine for what we did.
Wonderful.
As a unit. So, you know, we have the model, we have the prototype. And to the credit of Chief Kirkpatrick, she's implemented a lot of those programs. You know, me and her have talked at length about that. And I think you see the result with the drop in crime. Because she is doing a great job. You know, I'm giving a little ding for Chief Kirkpatrick, you know, because she flew here. She didn't grow here, but she gets it. She understands it. She embraces the community.
Well, that's her years of experience. And the level of experience. So, you know, one of the things you mentioned was the cost. And the most recent cost that I've seen is the estimate just for Washington, D.C.
Just for Washington, D.C.
Not for anything
We're not talking about
that was done in
California.
L.A. or might be doing in Chicago or New Orleans. It's $1 million a day, and one estimate put it at the end of August.
Wait, per day?
$1 million per day.
Per day.
Per day.
Our whole program back then was like $6 million for the whole program.
So it was $134 million at roughly the end of August.
Wow. Yeah. It's
that
insane.
Is a lot of money.
It is insane.
And it's growing.
Amount
And it's
of
growing
money.
and expanding.
Right.
Yeah.
Oh, my God.
And he wants to send them to other cities to expend the same amount of money for no reason, because it's not going to do anything. Because unless, and we talked about this years ago, the type of situation you're talking about is having a law enforcement officer on every corner, basically having a community of police totally dominate every aspect of your life. That is not America.
No.
That is not a decent society. That is Russia. That is China, where you do not have the ability to express yourself and not have someone confront you because you're not going along with the popular thought based upon the political affiliation. That's not fighting crime. No. You know, that's not fighting crime at all. You want to fight crime, get into the mind of the criminal. By teaching this person at a young age appropriate behaviors will garner you the things you're looking for. Inappropriate behaviors will not get you these type of things, but also understanding that this individual is a human being just like all the rest of us who want the same things. Let's provide them with a sense of importance, a sense of value, a sense of that I am an important person, and that person will move along in the direction you want them to move in to be the type of citizens that we're looking for. But if you do not provide them with an education, I mean, when I came up, it was a while back. The book I received, you know, you put your name in the book. Mm-hmm. There wasn't enough room under that because it was such an old book.
Mm-hmm.
So that's not appropriate education.
Right.
But we survived anyway. But that's not appropriate education. Provide these children with an educational environment. Imagine you put that kind of money into education, into elementary education. You will almost cut crime almost at least in half, if not more than that. Because that person now would feel a sense of accomplishment. The fact that they have skill, they have ability to understand the complex nature of our society and able to participate, understanding that they are valuable people. But when they feel invalued, or when they feel valued by a subculture that uses antisocial behavior, they will lean toward that. And that's what we will get if we do not put the energy and the effort into the front end, which is the education, which is that individual feeling as though they're valuable individuals just as they are.
We got a caller coming in. We got Papa Baptiste. Papa Baptiste, are you on the line?
I'm still here. Comment ça va? Bonjour.
All right. Good morning.
What's
good morning.
up?
Good morning.
Hey, Eddie.
Yes,
Peace
sir.
and blessings to you, my brother. Hey, bro, I remember, Captain, when I came up, Captain, and showed you, we were at the Jazz Fest, and I showed you my honorary badge that I got from Nestor Taylor, lifetime honorary captain's badge from the police department.
I remember
And
that.
you were gracious, you were humble. You said, hey, Bat, come see me.
And I renewed it. And I renewed it. For you. I remember that.
All right. We
Hey,
got
look,
Victor Sims with us, Papa Baptiste. You got a question for Dr. Sims?
Yeah, so how do we get the kids to participate? The New Orleans Police Department had something called community relations. And they worked with the community, they foot soldiers, they walked out, they got in some of even the police talent shows, and we had a different environment with how the young people looked at the police. Instead of running from them, some of them was running towards them saying, hey man, I like the way you sang Officer Brown, Officer Williams, et cetera, et cetera. So they felt more connected. But these people right now have plans to disconnect us from the police department, arrest as many young blacks as they can, put felonies on them so they can't vote. We strictly are in a racial war. That race war they wanted didn't come right now with gunplay unless a few of them jumping out of the car get sprayed, with masks like they're getting ready to rob somebody. But we have to do something to let the kids know, and especially our Latino-looking kids, that not to react, not to go violent, because all this guy is waiting for that to happen. When these masked bandits jump out the car, get sprayed, now we're going to martial law. Now we ain't going to have no voting in November. He's doing everything Vladimir Putin wants him to do, his boyfriend. So we got to deal with that. We got to let the kids know how important they are once again. And connected to the police department, is one of the best things they could do to find out how to stay away from the police department and judges. If they connect and find out that, like you say, these officers are human beings. I stay across from him right now, a white guy. He's a SWAT guy. He's a human being. He treats me like a human being, and I treat him like a human. We're neighbors. So if you have a better connection, instead of having our young kids to have this frightening approach about when the police get behind them, because it's been like that for centuries. You start sweating when the white police get behind you.
All right, we're going to let Dr. Sims. Thanks, Papa Baptiste. We're going to let Dr. Sims answer that question. Thank you for calling.
Yeah, I am 100% for police getting to know community. I believe that fear cycle is based upon concepts that have been placed inside these individuals by someone, usually people who are older than them, who give you information that is accurate, maybe based upon their experiences, but their experiences also may be the result of their inappropriate behavior. So for the police, and I am all for police officers. I think our society would not exist if it wasn't for our police officers. So getting to know the public, meeting with the public at organized and inorganized ways, walking down the street, going into schools, having conversations with police, or having conversation with the students, having conversation with the general public, is a method where we can let individuals know police are human beings just like us. They have a particular job to protect us from those individuals who will not follow the rules of society and address them. But they're not to be feared. They're to be thought of as the people who keep you able to stay in your house, to be able to drive down the street, to be able to go to the shopping center. If you didn't have police officers, you wouldn't be able to do these things. So we need to enforce the relationship, the common relationship between the public and the police officers, to let the public know that these men and women are there to make sure that we can do the thing that we want to do. We couldn't sit in this radio station if it wasn't for the fact that we know we have a police force. We couldn't drive down the street if we didn't know the fact that you're a police force. All of us would be walking around with guns on our hips, as you did in the Old West, if you didn't have law enforcement. So they are a positive aspect of our society. And we need to have more involvement with common, everyday citizens with police officers so that everyone can recognize that the police are here to keep us safe, to keep us being able to do the thing that we enjoy doing. So more interaction between the public and law enforcement, I highly recommend, is something that we do.
All right, we're going to have more of this conversation after the break. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM. The talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. We want to hear from you. We're talking about crime, the psychology of crime, and what can be done. And if you agree that National Guard should be sent all over the place, all right, let us hear it. Give us your perspective. But it doesn't seem like a good idea to me. So you're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Late nights are made for chillin', and you can do just that every Sunday night at 10 p.m. as DJ Wick brings you The Love Zone. It's the perfect way to top off your weekend with your favorite old and new school ballads. So sit back, relax, and let DJ Wick take you to the Love Zone on WBOK and on the World Wide Web at WBOK1230.com.
Good morning and happy Tuesday. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News, and here's a look at today's headlines. This morning, Hilda Vasquez remains in custody facing charges related to the death of her 12-year-old son. Yesterday, she made her first court appearance and was seen crying when a judge said she cannot have contact with her children until further notice. She was also ordered to enroll in a domestic abuse program. Hilda is charged with negligent homicide and second-degree cruelty to a juvenile. That's after her son Brian went missing and was later found dead in a lagoon near his New Orleans East home. Hilda will be back in court on Friday. Then the man accused of driving into a New Orleans East home and seriously injuring an Edna Karr student will be sentenced in court today. Cedric Marshall is charged with driving drunk and crashing into the home where Jamal Jackson was sleeping back in 2024. That teen was critically injured. Marshall's sentencing is set for 9. And finally, WDSU anchor Daryl Forges will moderate a mayoral debate tonight, talking to the candidates about their vision for New Orleans. That debate is being hosted by the Urban League of Louisiana at Xavier University's Convocation Center tonight at 7 o'clock. It is open to the public. And voters will then choose the next mayor of New Orleans on Saturday, October 11th. Early voting for that election will take place September 27th through October 4th. And that's a look at today's headlines. I'm Morgan Lentis with WDSU News. Have a great day.
Tired of the impersonal, one-size-fit-all style of banking? You deserve a bank that delivers exceptional service and personalized attention to your needs. That's the Home Bank Standard. Since 1908, Home Bank has been a trusted financial partner for businesses and families because we go the extra mile to help you reach your goals. See for yourself why Home Bank is good for business, good for life. Stop by any New Orleans area location or find out more at home24bank.com. Home Bank, member FDIC.
What's the future for New Orleans? Will city services ever function efficiently? Our people need answers, not slogans. That's why the Nonpartisan City Services Coalition has asked the candidates for mayor how they plan to fix city government. Want to know what they said? Go to cityservicescoalition.com to see for yourself. It's time for action, not excuses. The next step is yours.
Paid for by the City Services Coalition.
As a husband, a father, and a grandfather, I think about the future every day. What's going to happen to our kids? What's going to happen to our grandkids? This city needs renewal. We need a comeback, and no one understands that better than me. I'm Oliver Thomas. I'm running to be your mayor. Not for me, but for us. Let's get this city back on track, together.
Paid for by Friends of Oliver Thomas.
Making a difference in the community. WBOK 1230 AM.
Good morning, Wake Up.
The Good Morning Show.
Good morning.
On WBOK.
Welcome back to the Good Morning Show. This is Will Sutton, and with me is Eddie Compass, and we're talking to Dr. Victor Sims about all things psychology of crime. It's 8:27 a.m., so if you got to be somewhere in 3 minutes, I hope it's 3 feet away from you. So you got some place to be at 9 o'clock. You got a little time to gather a few things and get on out the door. Our talk line is 504-582-9422, 504-582-9422. Again, the WBOK 1230 AM talk line is 504-582-9422. And we've got a caller, Henry, I think. Henry, are you there?
Henry?
Hear me?
Hello?
Hello?
Can't hear you.
Can you hear me now?
Yes, I can. All right. Good morning.
Okay, what's up, Victor Sims?
Good morning, sir. How are you?
How you doing? Look, 2 comments. From what I was hearing, it brings to mind of Trump bringing back the search and seizure. Anybody but white. And when you guys are also talking about the education, even after getting an education, the hiring process, because of lack of D&I, which has proven to be a success, but yet Trump has basically gotten rid of all of this. Just those 2 comments, and I'm off the phone.
Okay.
All right.
Yeah. Education is a major aspect of what we're talking about. Formal education inside the school, and what Chief had been talking about, the education of teaching individuals how to get along with other individuals, to get rid of some predetermined thoughts and ideas that are negatively, that are not really a reality, that the police are somehow bad people that you run away from. But education is a major component in our society's growth and development. That's where our next citizens are coming from, you know. So when we sit in classrooms and learning, you know, the reading and writing and math and arithmetic, we're also learning how to follow rules, because schools have rules. You have to sit still. You have to have the right equipment. There are certain time frames for what you do and when you do it. These are social laws that we can expand into larger societal expectations that an individual has the ability to follow through with appropriate behaviors and appropriate times. So not only is the actual education of English and math and social studies an important aspect, but also the aspect of being appropriate, being on time, doing things according to how you're supposed to be doing things, socializing with your classmates, socializing with your teachers. These are social behavior that teach people how to get along with other people. So education is a massive need for the reduction of crime in cities, states, or in the nation.
Well, Dr. Sims hit the nail on the head. And one thing that we do, that there's a resource out there that we sleep on. Formerly incarcerated individuals.
Yeah.
Those individuals, they get back into society, and we want them to assimilate, but we do not give them the support and the resources that they need. There's a young man that we were talking about, Amir Barak. He was an individual that went to jail for murder as a very young man. He was learned to be dyslexic. When he got out of jail, you know, we embraced him. Dr. Peter Scharf and I embraced him, and we started a program called Circle of Courage. with kids that were at risk in the public school system.
Yeah.
We got him and several ex-offenders, and we wrote a grant and became behavior interventionists. We had over 100 kids in that program. They looked at Amir and these guys who they knew were gangsters in the street and had turned their lives around. They became productive citizens. And so these kids, like Dr. Sims said, had some point of reference that if you are in a situation where you make a mistake, that there is redemption. There is a redemption process that we're putting a resource in it on the front end as opposed to the back end. So these kids don't become individuals who go to jail and be incarcerated because we're dealing with it on the front end.
Right.
We're being more proactive than reactive. And Dr. Sims hit the nail on the head. We got to tell these young people, these young African Americans, that we love them. Like I always say, in order to be a man, you got to see a man.
Yeah.
How can you be what you cannot see? And when we look at a guy who's been in jail like Amir, and we destroy him away like a dirty dish rag, then we're exacerbating the problem.
Exactly.
When we wrap our arms around this young man, we tell him how much we love him, how much we respect him, and then people see in the community that the police are embracing formerly incarcerated people. Wait a minute. Well, maybe they understand. Maybe they get it. And, this is the solution to the problem. And we have to just do that on a large scale.
On a large scale, you're absolutely right. Because that example is a beautiful example. I mean, last time I heard about him and talked to him, he was training the Gretna Police Department.
He was.
He had and I think it was Dr. Penny.
No, Dr. Scharf.
Dr. Scharf.
Dr. Scharf died.
Yeah.
And he and Dr. Scharf and I, we go to the University of Alabama every year and do a workshop and program for the doctors at the University of Alabama.
Beautiful.
Every year we do that. And Amir and I still do that program.
Education is the main aspect. There are three institutions I feel in our society that we absolutely we need to promote, who should never, ever have to ask for assistance. Number one, teachers.
Very much
never
so.
have to ask for assistance. They should always get whatever that they need. Even before they even need it, they should have it. Police officers, whatever they should need, they should be provided with whatever they should need or even want. Because if they're involved in our society and community, we can maintain peace and order within our society. And the next group is the firemen. Out of these three institutions, we would not be able to do what we do without these three institutions. Education is number one. Because anyone who is anyone, all of us sitting here, have been educated by individuals who led us, who guided us, who taught us how to be the people that we are. We're now returning that to people under us to educate them on how to behave, how to react within the society that we call America. And without that, you're going to have a higher crime rate because the individuals are going to get their needs met one way or another. And if I can't get it met appropriately, I would get it met inappropriately. So if we can educate them on how to get it done appropriately by teaching them how to interact with other people, how to adjust themselves, how to get beyond difficulties, because nothing that you're going to accomplish in life, you're going to get without working for it. If we educate these individuals through a young elementary school that you can overcome it. You can overcome difficult and adversity. And we have people there to assist you. So when you run into a large adversity at an later age, you already had the success of your younger age and you're willing to go forward. How many individuals dropped out of school? Years ago, I had a conversation with the former Sheriff Gusman. And I asked him a question. What was the average education of the individuals in his jail? In my mind, I'm thinking 7th, 8th grade.
Right.
Know what the sheriff told me? Right. 2nd and 3rd grade.
Wow.
2nd and 3rd grade was the average education level of those individuals in his jail. That was astounding. That lets you know how education is so important. If you don't have education, you will increase your crime rate. And that's not a unusual thing. That's a reality of being a human being living on planet Earth, needing your needs met. And you're going to find it one way or another.
So we got a caller coming in. Lorraine, are you there? Lorraine?
Yes. Great morning, gentlemen. Great morning. Very good discussion. Very good topic. I'm so glad you're touching on that today. Great morning to each and every one of you. I have a question for Chief Compas and for the guests. Chief Compas, would you be willing to reinstitute that program again with the new incoming sheriff? and also add a caveat to maybe extending that program not just to the schools, but also into the prisons for those coming in to help them as well. Because I was actually a small part of that program at one time, and it was very effective.
Well, you know,
and I watched Amir, so I'm familiar with that program, and it was a very good program. And I was just so sad that it stopped. I know Amir has gone on to a really big acting career and everything, but I know he will still be in touch with New Orleans, his home. And I'm gonna hang up.
Well, there's definitely.
Thank you, Lorraine.
Thank you, Lorraine. There's definitely a didactic paradigm shift as it relates to the educational aspect of what we're doing as far as intervention processes. And when you look at it from that perspective, I'm definitely interested and available if anybody would reach out to me, whoever the new sheriff is or if it's the incumbent sheriff. You know, I would be very, very, very receptive to starting that program again. And the chief and I, we collaborate on a lot of things, not in an official manner, but in a social manner, because she's very receptive to things that's going to make the police department better. But I would definitely try to replicate that program, and a lot of people that helped me with that program are still in place to this day.
So, Dr. Sims, how do you see this in the context of, if you don't mind, the campaign? So we got a lot of city politics going on. And you just mentioned 3 areas that you think the people who work in those areas should be funded at levels before they even need anything.
Yes.
Certainly in the city of New Orleans, we don't control all of that funding, but New Orleans sends a lot of money to the state of Louisiana, and the mayor of the city of New Orleans is responsible for a lot of money in the budget, along with city council, our legislative branch. And then even in the case of the assessor, there's property involved that can play a role with generational wealth and what people have or do not have. Do you see any tie-ins for we registered voters to consider as we look at candidates?
Sure. I mean, we're basically talking about how to maintain our our civilization. So, and the multiple layers of our civilization are all tied together. And it's all about individuals being able to feel as though that they're valuable and that they're important. So having a government, because we talked the last time I was here, the psychology of government versus the psychology of business, which is entirely 2 paradigms. The government is to take care of the people. So what is necessary to do so? On all the levels we talked about, as far as education concerned, policing concerned, filing concerned, business. Business is also very important as well, because business generates the jobs that individuals require. And you need an educational group, a educated citizenry, in order to be able to provide the needs of business. So to have a government area, a local area, city or a state that provides adequate education to provide students and citizens that have the skills necessary for business to accomplish the goals it has is definitely tied in together. So I would highly recommend that those individuals who are running for office consider multiple levels that are necessary for the society as a whole to flourish. And you need to have an educated system. You need to have a policing system. You need to have that those 2 are also tied together to reduce the need for a person who may not have as much to feel as though you do have an opportunity to accomplish, to overcome, and to get better at what you do. So I'm hoping that the individuals who are running for office understand the full nature, the full impact that they will have on all of us, and to put a great deal of effort and energy into the educational system.
One of the things that Dr. Sims hitting on, I'm so glad he said, Jesus Christ, you ought to come here every day. This is my thing. When you think about it, there's 3 things that happen for a crime. You have to have a victim, you have to have a motivated offender, and absence of guardianship. We're always trying to educate victims how to keep themselves safe. We're always trying to basically put more police so you don't have the absence of guardianship. But the one component that we do not look at is the motivated offender. If we get rid of the incentives for them to commit criminality and nefarious acts, the crime will go down exponentially. And the things that you are talking about is hitting the nail on the head. That they should let you go to Congress and basically talk to all the legislatures when they're putting this funding together for law enforcement, because everybody wants to put more money into enforcement, more money in the jails, more money in the things that's basically exacerbating the problem and starting this cycle of violence. We're putting millions and billions of dollars into it, and it doesn't work.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work. When you took a small amount of that budget and you put it in intervention programs, we got great results. We got, if you want to look at it from, if you want to look at it not from a socialization standpoint, but from an economic standpoint, it costs $50,000 to $75,000 a year to incarcerate somebody.
Yeah.
You take 10% of that money and you put it into a child in the first grade and watch that child maturate and basically take on the personality of someone who wants to be a valuable member of society, have self-worth. When somebody has self-worth, they look good, they feel good, and then they're going to do good.
That's right.
We got a caller coming in. Danica, am I saying that right? Good morning, Danica.
Good morning, gentlemen. Yes, you are saying that correctly. Thank you very much. I just wanted to chime in, but also get maybe some clarity, and even if you guys could just mention or what your thoughts are. I definitely believe police presence is important and definitely plays a role, but I believe the real solutions come from investing in our communities. You guys mentioned education. I also believe strong parenting, mentorship, resources, really meeting the young people where they are. I think a lot of times we say, oh, the kids need, but how many times have we talked to the kids, to the ones who say, you know what I really want is this. And I think if you really have a heart-to-heart conversation with these kids, my husband has said it many times that they idolize the drug dealer. They look to the drug dealer and say, that's the life I want. They want the fast money. They want the fast life. But how do we change that mindset for kids who see this on a daily basis?
Dr. Sims?
Yeah, that is, you're absolutely right about that. But I'm going to change your comment, if you don't mind. I don't think they idolize the drug dealer. I think they idolize what the drug dealer has and how the drug dealer has accomplished, not how he's accomplished it, but what he actually has. Because if you ever talk to or get to know a drug dealer, you realize his life is absolutely miserable.
Right.
Because he has to look over his shoulder in both directions. I had a client years ago who was a gang leader, and it surprised me once because he came with someone to the session, and I'm thinking there was two people coming in, but no, this fellow stood outside the door. So I'm wondering, well, what's this about? And he said, well, that's my bodyguard. I'm saying, okay, welcome. Let's get into it. What I'm assisting you with. And in his comment to me was that he never sleeps in the same place 2 nights in a row.
Wow.
He never goes to family functions because he's always concerned about his enemies trying to get him and will harm his family members. So when you talk about that child admiring the drug dealer, he admires what the drug dealer has, not the drug dealer life in itself, because it is a life of horror. It is not a life of greatness. It's not a life of one. It's a life where you're looking over your shoulder in many directions, from either your competition, from being arrested, from even your customers is something you have to be concerned about. So it is not a life that is one that a kid will really try for if they're fully aware of what that life is truly about. But the life of a positive individual, a politician, a businessman, a lawyer, a doctor, a police officer, that life is one where you don't have to have those kind of concerns. But we have to educate our children on the thoughts that they have and where they're getting them from. Where this idea is coming from. Fortunately, depending on how you look at it, we have a lot of things going on within our society that glorify aspects of life that are not positive. We don't do enough, in my opinion, of demonstrating the positive aspects of appropriate behavior. We do too much glorifying in our movies and our music of aspects of life that are antisocial and based upon the perceived riches that may come from that, which is apparently becomes the goal of most people, but not understanding even rich people have difficulties in lives. Do you know how to handle your relationship with your friends, with your neighbor, with your coworkers? Do you know how to handle getting along with difficult situations? So if we teach individuals how to handle difficulties in life, again, we back to education and the reality of education, and not just what appears to be the shiny things. And that's why I call it the drug dealer had the shiny things. But how did he get to the shiny things? That's the part is not being demonstrated. So to get that, what you're talking about, ma'am, we have to demonstrate the reality of dealing with hardships and overcoming them. And once a person learns they can overcome a hardship, they're willing to take on something else. And these are positive aspects of our society. We need more education, more demonstration of getting through the difficulty. Like when Chief brought up Amir Baraka, beautiful example of how an individual can have a paradigm shift within their own thinking and become the type of individual that our society needs and requires.
All right, we're going to have to take a break, and we'll get back to it. Don't worry, Raquel and Byron, I see you on the line. We'll be getting to you momentarily. And stay tuned, folks. We're going to have Kimba and Graylin coming up with the front porch after this show. This is WBOK, 12:30 a.m., what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
This is your news update for WBOK from WDSU. For all your news and weather, watch WDSU News, New Orleans' leader in live, local, late-breaking news. Today at noon and 4 p.m.
Comfortable throughout most of the day, but humidity will be on the rise. Highs reach the upper 80s with scattered showers in the afternoon. This does not look to be a washout, however. Lows for tonight fall to the 70s. Highs slightly warmer Wednesday in the low 90s. More dry conditions at the end of the week. From the WDSU First Warning Weather Center, I'm Raven Richard.
A message from the community scientist. Do you live or work in St. James, St. John, St. Charles, Ascension, Calcasieu, Baton Rouge, or St. Bernard Parish? You may be exposed to harmful chemicals like phthalates, BPA, and flame retardants found in everyday products but linked to serious health risks. That's why the Community Scientist, a program of Rise St. James, brings you clear, science-based facts that protect your health and our environment. Stay informed, stay empowered. Visit risestjames.org today.
I live in New Orleans, and I work for Entergy. Hundreds of us make this city our home. That's why we're committed to providing you low-cost, reliable power. We're working on new projects across the city to reduce outages when bad weather strikes.
And we're working hard to keep our rates 20% below the national average. We're making changes and doing more.
Because New Orleans is our home, too.
A careless driver can change your life in an instant. Do you know what to do or who to call? If you've been injured in a motor vehicle accident and do not have an attorney, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free consultation. We can answer all of your questions and estimate the potential value of your case. Call Auto Accident Help Desk and connect with an expert personal injury attorney.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
Don't worry how to handle your medical bills, lost wages, and pain. We will get you the money you deserve.
They got me way more than the insurance company offered.
The consultation is free, and you do not pay any legal fees unless we win or settle your case. Make the smart call. If you've been injured in an auto accident, call Auto Accident Help Desk for a free legal consultation.
Call 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524. 800-269-4524.
Hey everybody, it's Kimba White Dupree.
And it's Graylin Bryant Banks from the front porch. We're coming up next.
Good morning, Wake Up. The Good Morning Show. Good morning. On WBOK.
good morning, and welcome back to the Good Morning Show. This is Will Sutton, and with me is Eddie Compass, and we are talking with Dr. Victor Sims. Raquel, are you on the line?
Yes, good morning, Will.
Good morning.
Keith.
Good morning.
Good morning, Dr. Sims. How you doing?
Got a question for Dr. Sims?
Well, just commentating on, the subject for us with the education versus the community and community colliding with our authorities and, police. And me and Chief Eddie was just discussing on maybe last week or week before how we got to get our babies introduced early, not late, with the first responders and stuff. We, still trying to get that back in motion, getting the first responders and the police to check in with our, pre-K and our little babies at the school, for us with, the safety demonstrations and stuff going and stuff, because that's definitely key, like y'all said, with educating our kids, including the kids, because to be honest, if we like it or not, that's our reality. We're in different times and stuff versus when we had Officer McGruff coming in. I still remember Officer McGruff and stuff. Great program there and what have you. And we just got to get all those key programs back in to introduce our kids, to start, re-informing our kids about the importance of community, with our, first responders and our police and our authorities and stuff. Because we're leaving them out, we have to give them a voice. And now also, and, like I said, we dealing with different times of stuff. Those kids are really engaged and, they really soaked in, not just with, how we used to have to, or used to bribe our kids with, things, buying things and money. And these kids, I mean, it just seemed like attention is the new drug, and that's coming from, with, social media being, social media times and stuff. And we got to engage that somehow to award our kids for us with what they're really looking for and really, interested in this. That is just being, pronounced and being, in the eyesight and being acknowledged.
Okay, Dr. Sims, you got a comment about that? Thank you. Thanks, Raquel. Thank you.
I do think that we need to spend more time with our children. I do think that we put too much time into electronics, into social media aspects of it. CNN did a study a while back that identified that 13-year-olds, I check their cell phones 100 and 150 times a day. Now, can you imagine if you're in school, but that's what you're doing, which is saying that their focus is on something that's totally unimportant. But they're checking it to see how many likes they have or how many negative comments they have. That lets you know that their opinion of themselves is very important, and they look for validation from other people in order for them to decide whether or not they're important. We have to let them know they're important by giving them our time as much as we possibly can to reduce the influence of external forces such as social media.
All right, we now got another caller. Byron, you're on the line with Dr. Sims.
Good morning, Dr. Sims. How you doing?
I'm doing well.
I think that we're dealing with an age-old debate here, okay? Accountability versus systemic factors. So if you look at it, there are only 3 acceptable policing styles in America. That's official. I learned that at Delgado in a policing class with police officers in that class with me. And so what we're seeing is that there's a by-the-book way that you can handle policing where no matter who it is, that person gets the fine or citation or warning, depending on their track record, right? And then there's another style called the watchman police style that gives the police officer a ton of discretion. And we see that style used predominantly in black environments. And so I'm gonna put something together here for you. That was the premise. So what I'm saying is we hear all these conversations about effect, and we never discuss causal issues, right? And so the United States government did a study called the Kansas City experiment in the 70s.
I remember that. I remember that study.
Yeah. And they proved conclusively that if you don't address cause and deal with broken windows and conditions, that nothing will change. So now let's fast forward. And look, excuse me, I'm trying to go fast because I know you guys, you only got a couple seconds for people, so bear with me. So if you fast forward to our conditions now, I was alive and a kid, but old enough to remember when New Orleans broke black code, when my mama and her friends got Dutchin at mayor and really broke the black code. That was an effort done on grassroots momentum and energy. And so now we're in this situation where we see we have no control where we live. We have outsiders often running our politics, and we have these partnerships that we can get no accountability from. Look at my mama. My mama, God forgive me, a butterfly just flew past my face. I apologize.
All right, hey Byron, let's get Dr. Sims' answer.
Look. So we let Harris in. They were supposed to take care of the education situation, and did not. And now they own prime real estate. I'm showing you how it's all a conspiracy, and everybody wants to talk about effect instead of cause. So we need to slow this train down, and so everyone can get on. And that's how we need to move with that. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. Appreciate your call. Dr. Sims, we got a minute.
Yeah, a deep conversation that he's having right there. So I'm going to try to put it in this. What is important? What is valuable? Unfortunately, value has been put on who has the finances. And unfortunately, those who do have that, as we call them, those with a vested interest, basically those who have the money, who have the businesses, create the environment based upon what's beneficial to them. And they have been able to successfully bend the mind of the normal individual to think that this is something that you should strive for. So in that whole Harris thing, that we can talk about that for about an hour. Because when they first came into existence, it was only supposed to have a boat. But now we have a whole primary real estate, but that's a whole different issue. Getting individuals to understand the importance of humanity, of people, and not the aspects that we identify people as based upon their financial wherewithal. It is how they treat other individuals. How do they deal with the public as a whole when you are in that position of power and authority that your finances may have given you? Also, it's come sometimes with some politicians. I think individuals, our normal citizens such as myself, like the rest of us, feel as though that the politician somehow is someone who is something above you. You got to understand the reality. The politician works for you. They are your employee. You have the ability to change that by focusing on the reality of what the power of the person has. I hope that addresses your concern.
All right. Thank you so much. It's been great to have you with us again, Dr. Sims. You've been listening to Dr. Victor Sims, Psychology of Crime. This is Will Sutton. With me is Eddie Compass. We appreciate all of you all listening on AM radio, on the internet, or on Facebook. On Facebook, we've seen Jacqueline, Karen, Patrice, Linda, Derek, Michonne, Paul, Curran, and more. And we thank Cedric, Papa Baptiste, Henry, Larry, Danica, Raquel, and Byron for calling in. But we know these are the folks that we see, that we heard from, but there are many, many more of you. So stay up next for The Front Porch with Kemba and Graylin. You're listening to WBOK 1230 AM, what New Orleans is talking about all day long.
Have you heard the secret of what New Orleans is talking about? I promise everything will be okay if you're listening here on the airwaves. It's that WBOK
campus of Xavier University. WBOK Go and Equity Media Station.
This news report is brought to you by New Schools for New Orleans. Join New Schools for New Orleans, All-State Sugar Bowl, and Entergy New Orleans in recognizing and celebrating the Teachers of the Year at our 4th annual New Orleans Excellence in Teaching Awards Gala. The gala will take place Saturday, November 1st at the Ritz-Carlton Hotel. This year's gala will feature New Orleans legend DJ Jubilee. Don't miss out on this intimate celebration supporting our New Orleans public school teachers. Tickets can be purchased on our website, newschoolsforneworleans.org.
I'm Bree Wood with BIN News Now. The Department of Homeland Security has launched Operation Midway Blitz in Illinois, targeting undocumented immigrants with criminal records.
So to me, these are not the productive folks we want to bring in the country. You want to build a country on migrants?
That was the father of Katie Abraham, who died in a January DUI crash involving an undocumented driver. Officials blame Illinois' sanctuary policies for attracting offenders. Black singer Lori Talese performed Lift Every Voice and Sing at the Eagles season opener, sparking some backlash from NFL fans. Critics called the song, often referred to as the Black National Anthem, divisive. And rapper 2 Chainz is releasing his first